While the business case for needing more women in tech is widely discussed, we need to invest just as much attention into celebrating, enabling, promoting, and retaining diverse talent within our organisations. Today, we'll share with you some of the critical factors that affect the growth and development of women in tech, including organisational culture, intersectional needs, diverse leadership, and clear support for career advancement. I, Ramat Tijani, will be joined by Kirsten Mitchell and Chantal Leroux. We all hold key roles in supporting inclusion, diversity, and equity programs globally for AWS. As just mentioned, I'm Ramat Tijani and my pronouns are she and her. I'm the program lead for AWS Get IT. It's a diversity initiative which encourages young people, in particular girls, to consider a career in tech while simultaneously supporting women in the business to build confidence and leadership skills.
I'm Chantal Leroux. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the Inclusion, Diversity and Equity Program Manager for EC2 Core Platform in AWS.
I'm Kirsten Mitchell. My pronouns are she and her, and I own Engaging Leadership to integrate inclusion, diversity, and equity into AWS's cryptography and safety engineering organizations. Because in AWS and Amazon, we like data, let's start with that. Why is there a shortage of women in tech? Conversations about women in tech inevitably start with concerns about the pipeline. In the UK, women account for just 17% of the workers in the tech sector. The proportion of women working as system designers falls to 14%, and it drops even lower for SDEs and programmers. In the US, while women are more likely than men to be enrolled in college at a rate of nearly 72%, tech numbers seem to be spiraling backwards. In the mid-1980s, 37% of computer science majors were women, and now it's dipped to 18%. Today, women make up only 20% of the engineering graduates, and an even smaller number, 16% of the engineering workforce. If you add in other factors, such as race and ethnicity, we have even smaller numbers of Black, Latina, and Indigenous women. We chose these particular locations to highlight based on where Ramat and I personally work, but the story remains similar worldwide. However, I do want to stress that your teams don't have to mirror the industry, and we have some within our AWS organization that do not. Some have argued that the shortage of women in tech could be due to a lack of confidence. Confidence comes from knowledge, and a recent tech survey found that 45% of women they surveyed said they lack skills in technology, 38% they said they lacked knowledge about technology, and 24% said that technology was just not for people like them. In addition, a Google survey found that many girls don't know what computer science actually means. They aren't encouraged to study it and allocated words like boring and difficult to its meaning. The perpetuated influence on this behind the times thinking has a very significant, and I say alarming, impact on future generations of young women in tech. I have 2 teen girls, and I see that with them as well. Recently, they attended a Girls Who Don't Code Yet event put on by AWS and were amazed at all the things that coding could actually mean. Reaching gender parity in the tech sector is a hugely important goal to achieve if the tech industry is going to continue to innovate and grow. The McKinsey Delivering Through Diversity report shows that companies in the top quartile for gender diversity on their executive teams were 21% more likely to have above average profitability. So, does it boil down to perception? Well, to hire more women into tech roles, companies need to help schools and universities combat the knowledge, or more accurately, the understanding gap. In addition, companies also need to work harder at retaining female tech talent. According to Forbes, once women enter the tech field, they leave at a 45% rate higher than their male counterparts. A report conducted by Indeed found that the most common reason women left was for a lack of career growth and support, followed closely by poor management and slow salary increases. The report also found that half of the women surveyed believed that they had the same opportunities to enter senior leadership roles as their male counterparts. Only half. So, Chantal, what do we do about this?
I think the way forward must start with building an inclusive organizational culture, which is fundamental to both diversifying and retaining our talent. Inclusive organizations celebrate diverse talent, encourage experimentation and a growth mindset, and foster a sense of belonging. By intentionally investing in the inclusion of women in tech, everybody wins. We build inclusion by recognizing and addressing existing exclusion and intentionally cultivating a work environment that values relationships and connection. Inclusion is about actively seeking diverse perspectives and sends the message that organizations thrive when every employee is able to bring their authentic selves to work. When you feel physically safe to take risks, challenge the status quo, and express your creativity, work becomes meaningful and you're motivated to contribute to an organization that really cares about you. How inclusive we are also really matters to our potential candidates. A recent survey asked STEM students who identify as women why they chose certain career paths, and 74% of them responded that a key factor when researching potential employers was the organization's diversity initiatives. It's also important to consider how the presence or absence of diverse leadership affects our experience of the workplace. And for that, I'm going to hand over to Ramat.
So I'm a firm believer that you often cannot aspire to be what you cannot see. Growing up in inner city London, I never saw a career in tech as an option for women, let alone a career in tech being an option for Black women. And now here I am in the world of tech. I often hear from some of the young people that I work with that they didn't realise that people like them could work in the tech industry. So we need to do more to break down the stereotypes of what it means to work within this industry. It's not all about someone, usually a man, sitting in a dark room typing out some magical code. There is so much more to it. Now, recognising the importance of tech intersectionality is key. We are all multi-layered individuals. I'm not only a woman, but I'm also Black, and I was also raised in one of London's most culturally diverse areas. Put all of the above together, plus many other factors, means that I have a pretty unique perspective of the world. And our different views and different experiences bring richer conversations to the table. The question you need to ask yourself in all situations is, who's not here? Whose perspective am I missing? And we need to think about how we develop our talent, how we develop our pipelines. What are you doing in the community to build a more diverse future talent pool? The program that I lead, for example, AWS Get IT, provides 12 to 13-year-old students with an insight into the world of tech in which women play an important role. Students on the program are mentored by the internal Get IT ambassadors. These women are taking part in an executive speaker training program to help them improve their confidence and their leadership skills. The knowledge piece is so important to remember, and as Kirsten mentioned, data is key. The more knowledge you have, the more confidently you can embrace a situation. In this case, embracing the idea that a career in tech is a possibility. Now, it's not only the students in secondary or high school that we need to engage with. We also need to think about graduates. What are you doing to show graduates the potential of careers in technology? Now, this leads us very nicely onto salary. Salary matters. It needs to be competitive, but it also needs to be fair. And this means that nobody should be discriminated against when it comes to pay. Everyone doing the same role should be within the same salary band. But before we even talk about getting paid, let's talk about the recruitment process itself and how it's going to look different for every single one of you. Despite these differences, your recruitment processes all need to be inclusive. Inclusive recruitment processes matter. Let's take job descriptions, for example. Is the language of the job descriptions that you are putting out there neutral? Do you have more masculine language in it that needs to be removed? Look at your interview loops, those people that are actually interviewing your candidates. Do they come from a diverse background? Or are they all very similar to you and therefore risking a very skewed view? Inspect all aspects of your pipeline. Where is it that you are losing talent in your funnel? Bringing in new talent is really important for any business, but so is nurturing your current talent already in the business. Kirsten is going to dive in a little deeper and give us some insights on this.
You might ask, isn't career advancement a personal, self-driven process? So how does that relate to retention? Equity and promotions, recruitment and retention are closely linked. For example, if a female candidate sees women within the company in senior positions, it can encourage them to strive for the same. Several programs at Amazon both support women's professional development, help them realize that they're not alone in the challenges they face, and develop men as better allies, colleagues, and leaders for women and non-binary folks within our workplace. For example, take our Women's Leadership Program. This interactive 2-day program discusses the challenges that often impact women in the workplace and provides real skills to help navigate them. The participants explore their personal conflict handling styles, apply effective communication strategies and stakeholder management, build networking skills, identify and apply strategies to successfully advocate for themselves, and work to build their own leadership brand based on the strengths that they bring to the table. In addition to the Women's Leadership Program, several sponsorship programs are alive and well within AWS. Going beyond mentorship, these programs seek to intentionally develop employees and bring individuals to the table where they might not have otherwise had access. Allyship, too, is critical. Women didn't create gender inequality, nor should they be expected to solve it alone. Amazon's Men as Allies program brings all genders together to be part of the equation to solve gender inequity in the workplace. Men as Allies focuses on first building awareness about gender inequity in the workplace and arming leaders and individual contributors with the skills to spot inequity and be effective allies for women, with the reminder that being an ally is not a noun, it's a process, it's a verb, and you aren't one until the group you're trying to support sees you as one. Secondly, it encourages meaningful discussions within Amazon, leading towards more equal gender representation through hiring, development, performance management, and other mechanisms. These discussions and actions lead to creating the inclusive culture that Chantal alluded to earlier. So back to you, Chantal.
By increasing our awareness and understanding of the underlying issues that hold women in tech back, we're able to create mechanisms that drive change. These programs, including mentorship, sponsorship, and allyship, are just a few of the key mechanisms that Amazon leverages to build a more inclusive and equitable culture. Many of you may be familiar with our leadership principles, which guide our decisions and frame our vision. Our first leadership principle, customer obsession, is an anchor for how we work to actively attract, retain, celebrate, and promote women in tech. As Earth's most customer-centric company, we understand that actively engaging and listening to both our external and internal customers is crucial. And we're committed to amplifying the voices of the women who inspire us to be better leaders and consciously create a future that we can be proud of. Now, it's easy to get bogged down in the challenges of creating that future. But my daughter, who is now 4 years old, constantly reminds me why I choose to do this vital work. When she asks me what I'm doing on the computer all day, I introduce her to my incredible team of fellow Amazonians and explain to her that our job is to make sure that she can use all of her superpowers in a world that celebrates her.